Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about a repair that most mechanics will grow very familiar with over their life. This is vehicle wiring repaired 4 ways. Method 1, I'll be using an insulated butt connector. Method 2, I'll be using an insulated heat shrink butt connector. Method 3, I'll be using an insulated heat shrink solder filled butt connector. And for method 4, I'll be doing old-fashioned soldering and heat shrink. Let's get started and find out which way is best. So first of all, I'll be using a cheap insulated butt connector. Now for all of these tests, I'll be using my Knipex wire cutters to make a good clean cut. I've also got these bargain bin wire strippers that have come in very handy throughout my career. If you see anything like this, make sure to pick them up because they can make a consistent strip every single time. I'll be twisting the wires here and feeding each end into this plain insulated butt connector. Now, the plain insulated butt connector is by far the worst choice out of these 4. The only thing that it does have going for it is that it's plastic coated, but as I crimp these, I can tell that they are brittle. It doesn't give a lot underneath my pliers. It mostly just crunches and that's it. And you can see when you give it the little 10-pound pull test that it fails miserably. These are cheap and not really suited for any vehicle repair. For the second method, I'll be using your insulated heat shrink butt connector. Now these butt connectors are fine for most things on like equipment or things like a trailer. You do need to be very careful using these on anything that is connected to an ECM, as it does create a lot of added resistance. So if you're repairing trailer lighting, if you're repairing headlights, taillights on an older vehicle, these are fine. And they do have that added corrosion resistance of the heat shrink. They tend to be higher quality, and when you crimp them, you'll feel them give a little bit and they offer a little resistance. They don't just crunch underneath the pliers. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward here. One thing about these is it does take a little bit of time and finesse to get them sealed properly. So I'll fast forward a bit to get through that. And you can see I've got a good solid connection here, and the connection passes the 10-pound pull test. Up next, we've got our insulated heat shrink solder filled butt connectors. Now, this is something that's fairly new and by far one of my favorite choices out of the 4, because it's going to give you kind of the best of all worlds. It's a nice, easy connection to do. And you'll find out here in just a little bit just how easy it is. Now, I first found out about these working on Cummins parts. Whenever you replace a connector, they actually give you these instead of giving you the parts to rebuild the connector. So Cummins believes in them. I do too. I think they work really well, and they're very, very simple. So you're going to go ahead and twist the wires together on this one, and you're going to slide that piece of solder into the center over your connected wires. The next step here is to kind of seal that in. So I'm going to speed this up again here a little bit, but kind of melt the heat shrink around it, forming a bubble on the inside. And then you're going to slowly apply heat to that solder until it starts to melt into the wires. You can see that it makes a pretty solid connection and absolutely passes the 10-pound pull test. So it doesn't really get any better than that. And the added bonus to this is that it is fully weatherproof, and you're not adding a bunch of extra resistance like you are with a regular butt connector. So this is safe for any kind of ECM connection, and on modern vehicles, that's just about every connection. Method number 4 here, I'm going to be doing traditional soldering with heat shrink. Now, traditional soldering is fine back when you didn't have any better option. I would definitely take option number 3 here before I would do this for several reasons. First of all, what's not shown in this video is that my soldering iron has already been plugged in for about 10 to 15 minutes. to try and get it to preheat. So you have that added. I'm also tethered to the wall. I know they make soldering irons that are wireless now and run on butane, but I just have a traditional corded one. Also, you're adding a lot of extra heat into the wire. So if you're not careful and you're not super experienced at this, you can cause a lot of that heat to soak into other components and possibly damaging them. Now, this is kind of a quick job, kind of a hack job. I didn't spend a lot of time on here, but still my total time elapsed doing this repair was about 8 minutes. So a lot slower, and you're putting a lot of other things at risk while you try to make this repair. And it's one of those things that you really have to be skilled at. You really have to be well versed in and practice on, and very, very careful. It used to be, the best guy in the shop can do a good wiring repair, but with the other options that are available, there's no reason why anybody can't do a great wiring repair. So definitely stay away from anything that doesn't have any kind of weather protection with the heat shrink. Always add some kind of heat shrink when doing any kind of vehicle repair. And there you go, that's pretty much it. You can see it does make a decent repair. It does pass the 10-pound pull test. It's just very labor intensive. And that's it, guys. Like and subscribe if this was helpful. Thank you.